There was one question, Lama Zangmo, which was about how do you let go? So there was a question about how do you let go, that process of letting go.
Yeah.
A tricky question. And I think there was another question about, was it to do with the ordination of women in Buddhism and how common that is for women? But I think maybe that was addressed after that, was it? But
would you like me to talk? Would you like me to talk about that?
Sure.
Yes, please do. Talk to us about letting go.
Letting go.
I need that.
Obviously, like this forum is not meant to be about giving meditation instructions, but really the process of meditation is about learning to let go. So it is through the meditation techniques that one learns to let go, that one starts to see, for example, how insubstantial the mental processes are and the thought processes are, and one becomes familiar with how we identify with certain aspects of our mental activity and saying this is who I am, when in fact they are utterly impermanent. Like Olivia mentioned, one day there's faith, another day there's no faith. One day we are inspired, another day we're not inspired. Our mind is so fickle, our mind is so changeable. Everything around us, everything within, external, whatever we look at, we cannot find anything that is permanently there. So the process of letting go is first of all noticing that, seeing that fickleness and not getting stuck on thoughts. Let's say we're holding on to the past. Well, by seeing and noticing the mental process, we learn to let go. But it is really the meditation process and the meditation technique is that.
Well, I think the other question was, were there always Buddhist nuns, and what have women brought that is special to Buddhism? And I guess becoming nuns, I think that's what the question is from Marjorie.
There has always been nuns. The Buddha ordained his aunt as a first nun, and so since then there has been nuns. I think what possibly the question might be leading to is about fully ordained nuns, what you call gelongmas or bhikkhunis. The issue about bhikkhunis in Buddhism is that once a lineage has been broken, like when you get ordained as a bhikkhuni or gelongma, you have to be ordained by other bhikkhunis along with bhikkhus. You have to be given that lineage by others who carry the lineage and the vows. And because the lineage was broken, in fact, it was never brought to Tibet, because Tibet was an incredibly difficult country to travel to in the centuries ago. So what you call the full bhikkhuni ordination was not brought to Tibet, and that's why it doesn't really exist within the Tibetan tradition. It still exists within the Chinese tradition, so you can receive it in the Chinese tradition, and there are many of the great masters who are trying to revive it and bring it into the Tibetan tradition through the Chinese tradition. But what you have is what's called a Getsulma. It's a sort of another step of ordination. There's still a life ordination that does exist within Buddhism, and it's very, very common. I mean, not in the West, not common in the West. I mean, there aren't many Buddhist monks and nuns in the West, unfortunately, I would say.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any other questions, Ian, that you'd spotted? Are there any others from anyone? I guess just almost a closing question, closing opportunity, sort of a closing comment from each of you. I mean, it's a super opportunity. We've had 50 or so people here together. I'd love to hear from each of you in turn. One message. What would you like us, as a call to action? What would you like us to do take forward from this evening's discussion. So maybe Olivia, if you'd like to just, I'll put you on the spot and ask you that one first, and it gives our other two guests a moment to think about it.
There's some very practical things we can do, I think, and I don't know if I'm just speaking for myself a bit too much here, but I find that I can very easily get caught in my own networks, my own friendship groups, and I don't always take the opportunity or create the opportunities to make friends with people from different backgrounds. And those opportunities exist. I'm a member of a group called Nisa Nashim, which means woman in both Hebrew and Arabic. It's a group of Jewish and Muslim women. So I suppose I'd encourage people on the call to either find opportunities that are out there or create them. There's the Council of Christians and Jews, which brings Jewish and Christian people together, Three Faiths Forum. There's obviously the Interfaith Forum here. There's so many opportunities where we can be meeting and making friends and finding out about faiths we don't know very much about and deepening friendships, and that is only going to expand our worldview and teach us more, and identify common values and things that are going to be different, and it'll teach us to appreciate those differences rather than see them as something that's foreign and not known. So I think that's a very simple thing that we can all do, and I suppose also just interrogating our own, checking in with ourselves. Are we really, we all imagine we're all here because we want to be furthering these kinds of agendas, and it can be easy, I think, to be complacent about what we all do and take for granted what's happening. So I think there's also that bit about challenging ourselves to be going beyond a little bit more, but also celebrating what we have. This evening's been wonderful. It's such a credit to both your organisations and to everybody who's come to spend the time doing this. And we should be celebrating the sisterhood, because the relationships between women can be so positive and so uplifting and so valuable to us all. So a bit of, well as challenging ourselves, we should be celebrating as well.
Absolutely. I think celebrating, and I think cake as well. I think there has to be cake, more
cake always
involved in this somewhere. Lama Zangmo, please, would you like to make a comment? Because I think some of what Olivia was saying, I'm sure, resonates strongly for you about us all reaching out.
Sure. Totally. I don't know if I have so much to add, really. I think we all need to live according to our values and our faith. And I think I know that His Holiness Dalai Lama, he often talks about we have to even go beyond faith. If we get too stuck on the ideas of I am a Buddhist and this is a Christian and this is a Hindu, and if we become too stuck about identifying with this institutional aspect of it, we can be very limited. So we need to go beyond that and live according to the moral compass of our faith, but all of us as humanity, so that the religion doesn't become a barrier. Religion should not become a barrier, something that separates us from each other. Rather, it should be the opposite, that it helps us to open up and helps us to come closer to others. And from that point of view, I know that His Holiness Dalai Lama also talks about, he says, my religion is kindness. He says, he doesn't say, I'm a Buddhist. Or sometimes he does say, I am a Buddhist monk. I am just simply a Buddhist monk. But he also says, my religion is kindness. And apart from that, do we need much more than that? If we could actually really live according to it, it's very, very difficult. It sounds so simple, but it's very difficult. But I feel that all of us as women, as spiritual practitioners, that's what we should be doing. And if we could all live according to that, according to a moral compass of non-harming, doing things that are helpful for each other, then the world would be such a different place if we were not ruled by selfishness, ruled by desire, ruled by aggression and aversion, but instead seeing the common sort of humanity in all of us, and the common wish for everyone to be happy and to be free from suffering. That is not different whether, like, whatever religion we belong to, identify with. We all have these similar needs and qualities that are universal.
Yes.
And if we remember that in each other, then I think the world would be a better place.
That's lovely. Thank you. And I think I'm going to hand the last word to Debora, to your opportunity to bring all those thoughts.
I think the interfaith has to work more on distant differences that exist between religion, because they're still very much present. The sensibility between religion that must go, because the exercise I've done my whole life, it was to learn other practice of religion, other people. I made myself a promise, until even my life is crazy right now, until I finish this 10 years rector in university, I'll travel to India to meet the Dalai Lama. That was my decision. I will do that. Whatever happened, before I finish, I'll meet the Dalai Lama, and I'll stay at the where he is and learn from him directly. That is my objective. I've been everywhere. I've been among the Jewish. I've been among the Muslim. And when people ask, what's Debora religion? I say, she's everywhere. And I am comfortable everywhere. Because I see God, the greatness of God in every religion. I need people to reach the potentiality I've reached. Yeah. I'm not uncomfortable next to anyone who have a different way of seeing the world than me. I am very comfortable. So this is the work. Ian, you get that?
I'm listening. I'm coming with you.
Okay, so gathering, more community gathering of people of different faiths, faith, talking to each other, sharing a meal, dancing. Don't forget the dance.
Absolutely. Dancing, sharing food. Absolutely.
Yes, all of that. That will break the barrier. That will break the barrier. Yeah.
Perfect. That's lovely. Debora, thank you for letting us end on such an upbeat note. So that was lovely. So I just quick thank you, but I know, Ian, I think I'm going to hand over to you to do a proper thank you. But I've so enjoyed meeting all of you and talking with all of you this evening. So thank you very much, and thank you for your honesty, your warmth, your joy, and your love. So thank you. Ian, can I hand over to you to close it properly?
It's been so inspiring. I mean, how do I follow that? I want to say, obviously a big thank you to Olivia and Debora and Lama tonight. I want to say that I believe we all have the power to change, as the website for International Women's Day describes. And more than that, we all have the power to change the world. But often we need role models, people who inspire us, who we can look up to, who we can relate to across our different faiths and cultures. And for women, I think it's even more important to have those role models, because we still live in a world that has barriers to equality that often make it harder for women to succeed. And tonight we've been hearing from those role models, those trailblazers who can inspire us, who have overcome barriers in their own right, women who have not only transformed their own lives, but are transforming the lives of others around them. We first heard from Lama Zangmo, who hails from Denmark and was recognised for a long experience of selfless qualities and commitment, becoming the first person in the UK to be honoured with the title of Lama at Kayembe in London, which is amazing. And from Debora Kayembe, born in the Democratic Republic of Congo, political activist, human rights lawyer, incredibly to be the first Black person, the third woman to become the rector of Edinburgh University. That's just such a, it's leading other women out there who are being inspired to say, that can be me too. I want to follow in the footsteps. And Olivia Marks-Woldman, who OBE now, of course, has been honoured for her dedicated service in raising awareness of the lessons on the Holocaust and subsequent genocide so that we can prevent them. And I've read how Debora came here as a refugee in 2005 and how Olivia's grandfather, we heard tonight, Leon Lukumhel, arrived here penniless from Poland. And I'm sure both Debora's and Olivia's families would be immensely proud of what they have achieved today. And we started the night with a prayer for Ukraine, and perhaps we should end by reflecting on how a great country, a great world, has been enriched by the immigration and the rich cultural diversity of others as we consider support for the refugees fleeing Ukraine and other war-torn countries today. And finally, I just want to end by applauding these great women again, who we've heard from tonight, who've overcome these barriers, and it's great that we can come together across different faiths and cultures to learn and celebrate each other's achievements. And I hope we can work further together to build that more peaceful, fairer, equal world. And I hope other women who are watching will take heart from the examples tonight and be inspired to feel that they can transform their own lives. And I will try my best to follow the advice of Debora and do more in my way. And I think all men have to do more to make that more equal world that we all want to. So thank you. It's been a great privilege.